My PhD is going on in LA. Like every weekend, there's something happening in LA. The
Okay.
last weekend, I was attending a concert which had Maroon 5, Coldplay, Shawn
Oh,
Mendes. During internships, people earn like 10K per
so
month.
that would make like around 7 lakh per month in Indian rupees.
A huge difference is that IIT Kanpur was an institute. University of Southern California is a university. There are dance departments. There are music
Oh,
departments. You could take courses such as backpacking, hiking.
हाय एवरीवन, मेरा नाम है विपुल शंखपाल और आज मेरे साथ है इशिका सिंह. सो आज का जो टॉपिक है वो है मोस्टली रिसर्च इन कंप्यूटर साइंस. सो द ये टॉक में हम मोस्टली दो पार्ट कवर करेंगे इसके. द फर्स्ट पार्ट इज व्हाट इज रिसर्च एंड द सेकंड पार्ट इज हाउ, दैट इज हाउ टू मेक अ करियर इन रिसर्च. फिर इसके बाद हम ब्रीफली एक और चीज पे टच करेंगे, वो जो कि है कि व्हाट आर द एडवांसमेंट्स दैट आर हैपनिंग इन द करंट रिसर्च, मोस्टली ऑन एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. So मेरे साथ है इशिका सिंह. To give a bit intro about of Ishika Singh. Ishika Singh is currently pursuing her PhD in computer science at the University of Southern California. And before this, she was a double major student at IIT Kanpur, with her majors being computer science and chemical engineering. और साथ ही साथ like Ishika and I were team members at Adobe. We were team members as part of research intern, and fortunately we were also able to get a patent out of it. So here we are. Let us start with the questions. So the first one, the
Okay.
fundamental one is that what is research, or what is research in your perspective?
Uh, okay. So, like research, the meaning of research has kind of changed for me over time. So when I was starting, it was just a like career pathway probably to do CS some in some way. But like after exploring it more and more, I realized that this is like a way, like if you want kind of a setting in which you're you're being like your job is to be creative and to also do some amount of engineering. I'm just talking about specifically about CS research, not natural sciences. That's probably different. So so yeah, so like uh, uh, yeah, it's like a two-way thing. So you are satisfied of being creative in your work, and you do not feel your work as work, but it just feels like naturally you're curious about what is happening, what is going on. That's probably research. And if you're like trying to pick up a field and trying to produce results or whatever forcefully, that's probably not research. I mean, you should be enough curious about the field. That's like one aspect of research. The other aspect of research is giving back to you, right? Like you are getting satisfied about your curiosities and stuff. But you also need to give back to research. You do not need to. You shouldn't be like doing some tier 3 or tier 4 level of research. I mean, if you are spending your time in it, just
Okay.
try to like really contribute to the field, and just not for the sake of getting more and more publications. That's what I've like learned after I have come here. Not That was not my perspective when I was back in India. There, what I gathered was like just publish papers, and that's what research is.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
that's probably not it.
okay. So
You
that's
need
what
to
you
be
learned at
contributing.
USC, right?
Yeah,
Like apart
yeah.
from just
So
contributing papers.
yeah, the like my advisor in our first meeting, in our first group meeting, he said that we will not be focused on publishing papers, but we'll be focused on like doing some uh, good work, and if it seems to be publishable, we'll publish it, but we'll not chase deadlines, which
Okay.
is like a perspective uh, among a lot of people who are doing research. But probably like this is I mean, like your work should be contributing something, not just like
Yeah.
for the sake
Makes
of your
sense.
profile.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. So
But I'll just try to like I'll just add one thing to that. Like in when you are beginning as a researcher, it's probably very hard to be able to contribute as well as build your profile. So in the beginning, it's probably you need to just like that's what I did. I didn't know like I was not concerned about if my work is contributing anything to the
okay,
community.
okay, okay.
I was only concerned about I need to have some output on my profile to be able to
To have
be
the
at a
CV
place
and
which
have a good CV, right? Yeah.
yeah
To show
yeah
some publications on the
be
CV.
at yeah be at a place where I could do real research
Okay,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the more relevant question. Like, so the thing that we miss is कि jobs के लिए तो एक particular structure है अपने पास. Like for undergrads, second year में internship season होता है, third year में placement season होता है. तो even if they don't do anything on their own, they will get jobs और उनका उसका exposure हो जाएगा. But there is no such structure, no
Hmm.
such organized structure for doing research. So like. What is the way to get there? Like you are at USC San Diego, so what is the way to get there? Like, can you propose a framework that these are the prerequisites that you are that are must haves, and then you
Hmm.
will have a smooth career ahead of it? Yeah.
So I did not have a smooth career like before this. So, but like what I think is, uh, like if you are really interested in research, at first like you need to know that there exist such things. I did not know that.
Okay.
So
Like what things?
so
Yeah.
so there exists machine learning research. So so like I was in chemical engineering, so I did not know that. I was like pursuing chemical engineering, did 3 years of my college.
Yeah.
So but like talking about the framework, I would say if you given that you know there exists research and that like we were doing with one of our clubs at IIT Kanpur, like we were like doing research with a lot of not really research, we were like learning how to do research with a lot of first year people. This was brain and cognitive science club. Uh, so like there has to be some awareness group which like tells you about like there exist such things. Given that you explore different fields, find out, and how you explore is that you take courses which are related to probably ML or like specifically talking about again AI research, not all kinds of research. So you take courses, you do projects, you learn about what it is, uh, and like that's a good way to like get into research and get a feel for it along with like learning in the right way probably because like a lot of people do not start learning from fundamentals and I don't know if that's the right way, maybe it does but maybe not. So but like getting into courses is probably the easiest way to get started with it. It's also tough at IIT Kanpur because there are certain criteria to get into
Hmm.
courses,
Yes.
but I don't think like there is an easier way than this. Then like for exploring, if you get interested for exploring more and more, probably you can carry on with a professor instructor that who was taking the course. That's what I did kind of. Or you could like find out about maybe startups which are working in AI. There are a lot of startups working in AI. You can get some experience, not like publication oriented experience, but like there would be some sort of research. That also what I did. Like with there was a very early stage startup that I worked with, and like probably that was my first AI experience.
Okay.
It was like a 1 month internship, and it was like very small. Like 3 people were in there in the startup, and I wasn't talking with them. So yeah, so like that was one opportunity. It was easy to get because it was a startup and they needed somebody to some like anybody to like literally anybody to do the work, the
Okay.
research part of it. Other and
So
like
this you
in your
did in
second
your
and third
second year, or this
this
startup research intern,
yes that I did in second year.
second year summers,
Second year winters.
winters. Okay, yeah, 1 month.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I was still dedicating myself. I was not sure like if I want to like switch my fields because it would have been difficult if I had switched. And being in chemical and already pursuing chemical was easier, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just doing like chemical majorly in my summers, and in winters I was doing exploring other things other than chemical,
Okay, okay. Got it.
just to be exposed to stuff. So so like so yeah, given that in the first year, given that there is research work that you could do, you could start with like joining a club or something at Kanpur, like in the college only, so that like which is easily accessible. Then you can go forward with courses or startup work or something. Uh, a lot of people also do online courses, but that never helped me, so I wouldn't suggest that.
Okay.
Uh, um, up, like having some immersive experience which kind of forces you to pursue it and not just like take a course and be pro bono in doing that. Probably that doesn't work for me, but like having a framework, like joining a startup, I had to like do some things in a week and I
Mm-hmm.
have to like give some deliverables. So that was like pushing me to like keep on track.
Yeah.
Uh, and then like by the end of your third year, you do an internship, you explore more. And then probably a lot of people do international like people work with international level sorry international institute professors or companies very rarely, and that could also be one option to like see what's going outside of India, because a lot of things can't happen in India.
Okay.
So
So you did
so
some collaboration with a professor outside India, right?
yeah, I did, like yeah, I did that. And that's usually like a very random process. You just reach out to professors by sending mails to a lot of people.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, so but like one good way to figure out whether the person is going to reply you or not is that they might have written on their website that they are looking for interns
Okay, okay. So
or
they
people to
usually
work
write on the
with.
websites, the
Yeah,
professors.
and if they haven't, they may or may not reply to you, but if they have written, there's a greater chance that they will.
Okay, okay,
So, and it was written on the professor's website that I reached out to. And yeah,
okay.
so these are a couple of ways to explore. And like after you have explored with courses, internships, startup work, working with professors, uh, and like working with professors, other professors outside the institute, usually usually it's not paid.
Hmm.
Usually, it could be though. Like if there's a proper program in place of like hosting interns, it
Yeah.
could be. But like if the professor is doing them themselves, themselves, then it probably won't be funded. So,
Okay.
so like since like 2020, a lot of things are going online. So like it has made things easier. You can just ask them like, I'm ready to do things online. So
Okay.
there goes one opportunity for you. But like you need to be motivated enough to explore so much. Um, and then um one of the so after doing all this, I was still not sure like which field I want to go into within AI. And I was probably going to join Adobe Research because I didn't know like
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, so I didn't know because I didn't know like which field exactly I want to do a PhD in. So uh, but like I then like a couple of conferences went online and I attended those. So and I attended some of the talks in those conferences where I came to know about reinforcement learning and robotics side of
Okay.
research, which kind of interested me. Uh, and like following that line, listen. So after the conference, I was like continuing to listen talks from the other past conferences which were related to uh, these things that I got interested into by attending these few conferences. I attended specifically I attended ICLR and ICML. Both were online in 2020. Uh, yeah, so like that exposed me to some new things, and I like started reading about that. Mostly I watched talks related to those topics, like all the uh, like top tier cutting edge level professors who were working in this area. I saw what they are working on, and that
Okay.
looked pretty interesting to me.
Okay.
And yeah, eventually I found out something that like fit my current profile as well as was like interesting enough to me to be like convinced enough to go for a PhD, and that's what kind of happened with me.
Okay.
So these are like the ways I explored with.
So like
One more
yeah.
thing I'll add to this is uh, having a Twitter account and following people whose research you like or other topics that you like is very helpful. Like really very helpful, both in terms of finding opportunities, because a lot of these people post about
Yes.
opportunities, and these opportunities are not anywhere else, not posted
Okay,
anywhere
okay.
else, just on their Twitter account. Like the post that they are looking for interns, or they are looking for there's an undergraduate internship program that somebody is hosting
Yeah.
to explore research and things like that. So a lot of that you come to know from Twitter, and a lot of new research, of course, you come to know from Twitter because people post about their current work that's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you chose for PhD, you also had an option to go for a master's, 2-year program. But a PhD is a
Yes.
like longer term commitment, like 8 years.
Mm.
Yours is 8 years, right?
No. Mine is 5 years.
5 years. Okay, okay,
No PhD is 8 years
okay,
long.
okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like why did you go for PhD and not for a master?
Uh, yeah. So like I said, so like while I was exploring these things through like these fields in RL and robotics through talks, uh, I came to I came to this like a particular research area which is called RoboNLP.
Okay.
It's basically like applying uh, integrating language in robotics. So basically, like you'd be able to give commands to a robot, like do this, do that, like
Okay, okay.
specifically in language. And like currently, robotics is only integrated with vision. Yeah, major like it's dominantly integrated with vision only, and which is kind of brittle because how do you define a task using vision?
Hmm.
Just vision,
Yes,
and
yes, yeah.
language is like pretty easy to do that. Uh, yeah, and like I was working in like in Kanpur, I had probably only exposure to NLP because of the available resources, not because I was like specifically interested in NLP, because like those were my options, which is why I came to know about NLP. So given that, and like given this field of language and robotics, it made a lot of sense to me. Like this research, like the motivation of this research area, as well as my background, it kind of like fell along the line of pursuing this particular field. I was like reading about more and more. I was like pretty sure that I can do a PhD in this area because it's pretty fresh and there's a lot of scope to spend like 5 years or so. I why did I not uh, take the MS program was because it did not it, it was the professor I eventually got to get along with was not uh, specifically in Robo NLP. He was doing just robotics. So and like the professor I'm here with, he's like one of the main persons in Robo NLP. So like the research alignment was pretty clear in USC more than at the other place, CMU. The other factor was the funding. I only got like partial funding at CMU, and here at USA was fully funded. So that
Okay,
was
okay, okay.
also
Yes.
made like a decision clearer.
So, like, this is also something important to cover, like, what are the fundings available
Hmm.
and how did you, like, what's the process
Hmm.
for that? Um, but
Okay.
yeah, so before that, what we need to cover is like, you approached the professor at CMU and he offered that MS program, or what is the procedure to like
Okay.
ask or apply for MS or PhDs if you have
Okay.
interest, and
So
like, and are there any exams that we need to give?
yeah. Okay. So there are two exams that's like the starting point if you're thinking about applying for higher studies. I mean, you should like give TOEFL and GRE and get done with it well in advance. so
Okay.
that they are not in your way anymore. And you can still decide not to go, but you still have the exams done. So I had like my exams done in 2019 and I was applying in 2020. So I didn't have to like worry about exams.
Okay.
So yeah. But like a lot of people do it in the same time as their application, like a couple of months before. That also works.
So
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 that's also fine.
so you were in your fourth year while giving TOEFL and
In
GRE.
I was in my third year
Third
while I
year.
was
Okay. Okay. Okay.
doing.
So like, what is the content for this, like GRE and TOEFL, and how
Uh,
did you prepare?
GRE, yeah. So yeah, probably like here I won't be very helpful because I did not score that well in GRE. So but like the content is like it's 50% like probably very easy arithmetics,
Okay.
uh, and most likely people who have like cleared JE won't have an issue with that exam, the maths part
Okay.
of it. You just don't need to make any silly mistakes. If that's ensured, then you'll be fine with with that part. The other part is the verbal part, which is kind of harder.
Like 50% is
Yes.
arithmetics, and like it would be easier for JE who have cleared JE, and the remaining was
Yeah.
verbal part.
I mean, who have not cleared JE, that it will be easier for them too. But like if you have cleared JE, you will be fine with doing the
Okay.
GRE arithmetic.
Okay.
The other part is verbal and writing. So writing is basically like a small part, uh, and it's like not really tricky, and like it's not really not that important. Like it doesn't get added to your actual score, but it should be probably like more than 3.5, and then it'll be okay. And usually people score 3.5 in that.
Okay,
Um,
so that's not much of a
for
barrier, right?
the
Yeah, the whole
yeah
GRE and TOEFL process is not much of a
for
barrier.
yeah, but like it's possible to like score really low in the verbal part.
Okay, okay,
So it's probably good to like see where you are and if you need to prepare or not. So you can give a mock test or something and see if you need to prepare for that.
okay, cool. Okay, so those are the exams that you gave, and then
Hmm.
after that, what is the procedure?
So after that, you need to, after that, the first thing is you need to figure out whether you are going for a master's or PhD. So that you can figure out by thinking like, do you have a research agenda in mind that you would like to do for 5 years? Uh, if that's true, you go for a PhD. If that's not true, if you want to explore more, but like while in being in academics, then you probably go for a master's. And another point to consider is like usually master's programs are not funded, so
Okay,
you
okay,
need to have a money backup for if you're thinking of going for a master's. Um, yeah, a lot of people take loans for that, and yeah, we can go into that if you want to later, like what's the process of doing that. So for a PhD, if you have like a research agenda clear, you go for a you think you like start working on your statement of purpose, uh, and plus the resume. It's good to for PhD applications. It's good to have like a couple of publications in if not in like tier one conference, but like some kind of publications. It's
okay,
usually useful for for like other people to like select you, like they select you on the basis of that. um yeah, so like a huge thing here is the letter of recommendations that you are getting. You like usually need at least three. So letter of recommendations kind of play a major part here because uh, that's only something that's coming from outside in your application and like judging your profile, and like you are kind of selling your profile, and there's some outside perspective which is like judging your profile and telling the
hmm.
person how actually how good this person is. So
Yeah,
like that's one of the most important parts. So like for that you need to like have thought of this a year in advance that you have worked with at least 3 people who could recommend you when you are applying.
And those 3 people must be like must be experienced one, like they should be some professors or someone like that,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if at least they have a PhD, that will be good because they are recommending for you for a PhD.
Yeah. Okay.
So most preferred people in this category is professors, obviously, with whom you have worked closely, so that it matches the academic setting that you'll be in eventually. Like, what are your skills being in an academic
Mm-hmm.
setting and
Yeah.
doing research? You can also have like industrial applications, but there like probably having a professor's letter is like one of the some universities like make it a compulsion that you need to submit at least two or at least one LOR from a professor.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So like just to reiterate, first we have to get sorted with TOEFL and GRE. Then we need to prepare our SOP, statement of purpose,
Mm.
resume, and LORs. Like at least three
Yes.
LORs and 2 publications would be nice on our resume, right?
Yeah. Like even if you have worked on like one publication really hard,
That
that's
would
good
be enough.
enough.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So moving forward from that, like how do you apply then? Like you have done all this and then you directly approach
So
institutes, or what is the process?
so like you search for the application. So like suppose you're applying to USC, you search for CS PhD applications USC.
Okay,
Then you like simply searching, you'll find the portal to apply, and then there would be like a couple of pages which will like ask you for a different set of information, uh, like
okay.
your
Basic
background and stuff.
formalities, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
so
you
just
submit all these documents, and it's done there.
okay, okay. So you applied at CMU and USC.
I applied like at 12 places, and
Okay,
those
okay,
were the two I got in.
okay, okay, okay. So uh, so uh, these were the 2 places you got in. So any reason behind, like what are the others, and did they provide any reason why did you like not taking you in?
So some of them, so maybe like my profile was not enough. That could be one of the reasons. Some of them said that since they have people from last year as well, which they are getting in this year, because
Okay,
of
okay.
COVID they
Yeah.
deferred, so they were admitting less number of people than usual. Uh,
Yeah. Could you just
Also like
name
in
those, like what are the institutes you
okay,
apply for?
so I applied on in all of the top four. So top four are like MIT,
MIT.
Stanford, Berkeley, and CMU.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I applied at places which had like people who are working in RoboNLP or robotics at least. So I
Okay.
applied at NYU, Michigan, Washington. Um, what else?
Yeah, that suffices, like the TOEFL
Georgia Tech.
and yeah,
Yeah.
those are important. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about the admission process and the funding program that you talked about. Yeah.
Okay. So the admission process is like whoever is looking at your application will consider it, like really consider it, if they see like concrete output on your CV, and like how you explain it in your SOP, and how you structure your story, basically, like why you did this, why you did that, how did that, like, there should be a flow in your story, like you did a couple of projects, you got interested into it, and which is why you want to do a PhD because you like this field, and then what you want to do in this area, give a couple of ideas in that, that these are my vision for the field ahead. So
Okay.
based on that, and in CV they only probably see like concrete outputs such as publications.
So
In research, like
are
probably
there
publications
phases
are,
like interview tests and something like that?
yeah. So after like this screening, and also
Okay.
like before this, there's another screening which is CPI based
Okay.
and GRE score based and
So
TOEFL score based.
yeah. So how
So
much
like
is the criteria?
uh, I not really like, it's probably relative.
Okay.
Uh, So like you can imagine like they would be getting applications from all CPI categories
Hmm.
and enough applications from all CPI categories. So like it's good to have like a probably 9 and above
Okay.
to be like very safe
Yeah,
of
nine
not
and
getting
above.
screened out.
Okay. And then
Uh,
same for like similar scores for GRE and TOEFL.
for GRE, I guess, yeah, I mean, there's also, I guess the GRE cutoff is probably low because like a lot of people have good profile but not have good GRE scores. TOEFL is probably 100, below 100 is not acceptable at a lot of universities.
Okay, okay.
But like a lot of universities, what they do, like if only TOEFL is your weak point, they still take you and you'll have to do an English course in your first semester when you
Okay,
come.
okay, that makes sense. Okay. So this is first screening. Then there is another screening based on your SOP and
Yeah,
LORs, right?
yeah, yeah. So it's good to have like concrete output in those, and then comes your letters. So if the stronger the letter is, the better it is. So and also like the letter should like specifically talk about, it shouldn't be generic, it should talk about your work and like your aptitude basically, so that uh, it makes your application stand out. And then after all of this, like a set of students are shortlisted for interview, depending on the professor. Sometimes like usually whoever you're applying to, they are looking at your application and they are figuring out whether they want to take you or not, and then they may or may not take your interview. So for both places I got in, I had interviews. So and after the interview, I they decided whether you'd be selected or not. So yeah, after the interview, I was selected at both the places. And then basically in PhD programs, you are guaranteed funding, and most of the times your advisor is also decided. So the process basically stops right there, and you just have to decide whether you want to go or not. For the CMU MS thing, uh, I got in. The admission was like done for me, but the funding and the advisor was not decided or not fixed. So it's basically like the admission is basically like you get an opportunity to find people within CMU with whom you want to work with, and like find funding opportunities with them. So yeah, I had to like reach out to a lot of people within CMU, professors like whose research was aligned to me, and had chat and interviews with them. And yeah, that's how you find funding and advisor in that process.
Again, before going to funding, I just
Mhm.
wanted to ask about the interview process. What do they cover in the interview?
Okay,
Yeah, just a brief about it.
okay.
Yeah.
So in interview, there are like three things. In the first part, they talk about one of your research, whichever you are like most confident about. You can talk about that, or like just be prepared for all the things you did, and you could be asked about anything, any of your works. So they discuss that. Then the second part is what you want to do as a part of that program. Like what if you got admission, and like what would be your plan, what ideas do you have, discuss upon that. Like future, like
Yeah.
discuss past and then discuss future, and then discuss uh, why I am a good fit for your program.
Okay, okay.
So your background, like proving yourself some
So
kind. Yeah.
okay, so that's again mostly on depend on the first two, or is that a different question? So the answer would be most likely on like you have done this work and then you're interested in it, and that's what you want to do. So that's how you will prove it. Or what could be the better answer?
uh, uh, the answer to that would is like since you have this kind of background, and that will be, you need to justify based on your background basically that this place needs this kind of work and you have done this kind of work.
Okay.
I'm not talking about exactly like matching research fields because that did not match for me. But like the research skills would like transfer from whatever experience you had to the
Okay.
things you will do.
So,
So justifying on basis on the
yeah.
background.
So they do not have anything like aptitude tests or something like that. Yeah.
Not in my experience.
Okay,
No.
sure. Works. Okay, so after the interview you got in, the admission is confirmed, and now you just have to get an opportunity for funding and the professor, right?
That was like only true for CMU MS program. So like there are three kinds of things. One, MS is you know that it's not funded and you need to
Okay. One MS
come
is
in with
not at
your
all
own
funded.
funding.
Yeah. Okay.
So and then there is another MS which I only know about CMU, which could be funded. Like it's MS by research, so it could be funded. You need to find advisors and funding, and if you're successful, you could like go forward with that. And then third is like doing a PhD, which is mostly funded, mostly.
Okay. Okay. So so like who funds this? Like the institute, or there are some there
Hmm.
like corporates that are doing the funding? Like how do you approach for the funding?
Yeah. So for funding, it's not different. You just like ask the professor only. Like he will be responsible for your funding, whoever your advisor
Okay.
is.
Okay.
So it may come from the institute. May come from the research grants that professors have. But like your professor would be responsible for looking after your funding.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So um okay, so most of the things are covered. Like now the some more things are like what is covered in this funding? Like your tuition fees will be covered. What apart from that?
Tuition fee is covered, health insurance. Like for me, tuition fee is covered, health insurance is covered. At some places, there's partial health insurance coverage, so you need to pay a little bit of your health insurance. And then what else? And then
Mess
stipend.
charges. Okay, you get a stipend as well.
Yes, so like living cost levels.
Okay.
Stipend is there. Uh, you the things you need to pay is your rent and your entire living cost. Usually there's no mess. You need to cook your own food
Okay.
or
Okay.
you eat
So
outside. That's
okay. Okay. So uh so how much is are those like those could be easily covered using your living stipend that you get, like the
yes,
hostel
yes.
rent and your
Yeah. Yeah, mostly like the stipend is designed in such a way that your living cost is covered. And maybe you save a little as well, like depending on how you are living.
okay. Okay, so these fundings are like gender agnostic, right? Are there any special provisions for female students, like some special scholarships or something more?
Uh, I cannot say in general because they could be like in some places there could be like specific female funding, but like that depends that's where you call it specific, like if they
Okay,
have
okay,
such kind of a program or not.
okay, sure.
There's no general thing like that though.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we have covered like how do you get in. Now, like let's cover what happens when you get out. Like what are the opportunities that you have after doing your PhD in terms of jobs or other career aspects?
Yeah, so like one of my motivations to go for a PhD was to be able to work in the big uh, research firms. So like a lot of people get jobs, research scientist jobs in the FANG research,
Okay, okay.
and there are a lot of startups which are doing research as well. So usually, like you have a lot of there's no lack of opportunities after that.
PhD.
Uh, yeah, after
Yeah, like
PhD.
at least in the big corporates, like covering the fangs. So
Yeah,
you get enough
I mean, like
opportunities over there.
as long as your research is aligned to what they are doing. So like, and like a couple of those are doing like literally everything in research mostly. So
Yeah,
like Google is probably doing everything,
yeah.
whatever AI research is. So but like yeah, there's competition in definitely I'm not like yet exposed to that competition, so I cannot say for sure, but that's where I have seen people going.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So, do you have any like idea of the monetary benefits that you get in those places, the FANG uh,
uh,
corporates?
so I know that people in during internships people earn like 10K per month or so usually, like that's the general 10K USD per
10K
month.
USD per month.
So like probably that's the general average of
Yeah, so that would make like around
everything.
7 lakh per month in Indian rupees, right?
Yeah, but you'll be using in dollars, so
Yeah,
you might not want to convert it to Indian rupees.
yeah. Okay, I was just trying to compare like the
Yeah,
difference here and there. Yeah,
but like that's the average. You might get more, you might
yeah,
get
you might
less.
get like that's just also for the internships, right? You may get a lot
Yeah,
more doing the
yeah.
jobs. Yeah,
But like on all the big firms are probably over that.
okay, about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, so these are the things that we covered. Now, one more thing is like, what is your research and what are you working on and what are the advancements that are happening over there?
So my area is like as I mentioned, it's RoboNLP, and it's like a pretty nascent area right now. So introducing language to robotics. So like the current work in this area is like uh, so like in robotics there are like two kinds of things that people work on. One is robot navigation and the other is robot interaction with objects. So in both these fields we are trying to introduce language. In navigation there has been like a line of work which is called vision language navigation. So you give a robot an instruction like uh, go out of there, there are like a couple of data sets which facilitate that, and there are instructions like go out of the kitchen, go to bedroom A, and find the water bottle.
Okay.
So the robot would be able to navigate to that point.
Yeah.
The other kind of things are like interaction based on natural language. So there are like a couple of research uh, 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 papers that have been published recently. One of the papers that I like the most is by my advisor only. It's an experience grounds language. So he has been working in this RoboNLP area for quite long, and he has published things like benchmarks like Alfred and Teach, which are like basically there is a robot and you're giving it in Alfred, like basically you're giving the robot instruction in a kitchen environment, like make a cup of coffee or wash this utensil, so it will be able to like do that, the
Oh.
kitchen task. Interaction with objects based on language, just language instruction.
So,
And
like
in Teach
there are
it's
two
like
parts. So
yeah,
one is the
yeah,
language part, which will have the machine learning, and another is the robotics part. So, so that would be quite different. Like to engineer the robotics,
yeah,
like
yeah, so
washing
like
a utensil
mostly
would be to make a robot that would wash a utensil
yeah,
would be
so
hard.
like so yeah, so like it's so all of this work is currently in simulation. It's
Okay,
not
okay,
like on actual robot. And even if it goes on actual robot, we probably like at least I probably wouldn't want to deal with the robotics
okay.
part of things. Like there are like ready-made robots that you can just
Mm-hmm.
buy and put your models on, and like in case of navigation that I'm currently working on, the robot just needs to navigate to different
Yeah,
places based on language instruction. So
they just need that translation to like the signals that they accept, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so like we are only like working till uh, finding out from language find from starting from language finding on the right APIs to
Hmm.
activate on the robot, and robot would do that
Yeah,
particular
makes sense.
routine.
Totally makes sense. So, what do you see the future for this? like in a decade or so, will robots will be around us, or like what is the future implication out of this research?
I am probably like too new right now to judge that. Uh, um, but I think so. Like I said, it's pretty nascent right now, and it's like robotics and RL in itself is like really hard, and getting language into it's like double hard. So since like a lot of people are coming into this area, joining the program and uh, leading it forward, but yeah, I cannot say like in 10 years it will be at some certain point, because depends on like what the direction is and where it is going. But one thing I can say is that the end goal that I see for this research area is having a robot which follows language commands at some point in the time.
Yeah. Okay. So uh, yeah, uh, that's like okay. So we have covered like what your research is, and what are the advancements that are happening in that particular research.
Mm.
Now, like something apart from academics, something like how has life changed from IIT Kanpur to US, like University of Southern California? Like, what's the difference there?
Mm.
Anything that you have noticed?
So a huge difference is that IIT Kanpur was an institute. University of Southern California is a university.
Okay,
So in the institute, we only had like engineering level stuff, but here in university there are a lot of like almost everything. There are dance departments, there are music
okay,
department,
okay,
there's sports department. You could take courses such as backpacking, hiking,
okay.
and
Those are
whatnot.
also offered. Okay,
So yeah, so like there are all kinds of courses over here. Like you could like literally take any of those courses. So like there's the like scope of exposure is much more over here in terms of breadth. Also, so that's one difference. In terms of research, I would say at IIT Kanpur, like being an undergraduate, it was like really hard to do research. So I don't have like a unbiased opinion of how research is in IIT Kanpur, because I only got opportunities which I could get, not all of them. Like not I yeah, like it was not choice based. I just took whatever was there.
yeah,
So but like here I am like completely working on some like the whole day I'm working on something which I'm totally interested in, unlike at IIT Kanpur where I was not working on completely all the time on things that I'm interested in. So that's one thing. The other thing is like I think like in general in India the research is not so developed right now, and it's probably like those who want to do like spend their uh, career like doing research should probably do research in US, because otherwise they're not really exposing themselves to the people who are like really cutting edge in any of the research areas, because all of them are here.
okay,
I
yeah.
don't think anyone in India is doing
Cutting edge
really
research.
cutting edge,
Okay,
at least in my experience. Like, and also like the culture is slightly different. People are like publication oriented, but here they're like contribution oriented. They
okay,
want to contribute like really good kind of research to the area, which is like a good thing, and it like appeals to your curiosity more than just making going for publications. Apart from that, my PhD is going on in LA, so it's an add-on benefit. Like every weekend there's something happening in LA. So like the
okay.
last weekend I was attending a concert which had Maroon 5, Coldplay, Shawn
Oh,
Mendes.
yeah, that was
So
good. That might be good.
yeah, it was very good. It was very
Yeah,
good. Like probably like best day in LA till now for me.
yeah. Okay,
So so like there are all these benefits which might not translate to other people's PhDs, because that might be in some remote location like Cornell.
okay. Yeah, maybe.
Cornell is a great university, but it's like it's in a remote location, so maybe not that eventful.
Yeah.
So those are like the differences. Like right now, like in back at IIT Kanpur, I used to hang out. I just used to hang out with my friends, and the best form of hangout used to be like just going out and eating at some place.
Yeah,
But
that.
here, like you can imagine, like the level of hangout we could do here. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Um, yeah, so like those are some of the benefits that you get out of just the academics part.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, so now the next thing is if there's some undergrad or some fresh grad, then is there any way you can help them or guide them to be where you are at currently now?
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe not me specifically, but like undergrads can probably reach out to PhD students to probably check like if they want any collaboration or any kind of help in their research, because like a lot of PhD students do need help in their research because they have like two projects going on and don't have time to like really implement stuff a lot.
Okay, okay.
And usually like senior PhD students are more in need of helping hand. So uh yeah, like my category of people could be useful for them in that way. uh the other way we could be useful is like what we are doing right now. We could tell about what we did to get here, and you
Hmm.
could probably find out opportunities similar to this.
Yeah, makes
So
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
You said about approaching PhD students. So again, is there a way to approach them? Most of
I
the
think
like websites have the PhD students information, right?
hmm, so like you go on a professor's website, you if you like their research, maybe you mail the professor. If they don't reply, maybe you reach out to one of their PhD students and ask.
Okay.
But like that would be like a really random process. It's not streamlined. That's like tricky. I mean, I know that I have like gone through that. So
Okay.
like it's random. I mean, there's no central thing to do all this. Just need to like find your way out of it.
Okay, great. So anything else you might want to add on? Like anything else just out of your learnings over the journey?
um I would say that like during your like exploration, if someone likes research, they should like put put in efforts to experience the research in US because it's worth the experience.
It's worth the experience.
So yes, I know like there's the process is not streamlined. It's very hard, and it's very exhausting process right now, and which is sad. And yeah, it's like very competitive and very exhausting. It has been for me very exhausting. Like yeah, but like once you get here, you have like a proper shot at doing research and like doing proper cutting edge research with good people. Like so, it's worth. I'm not sure if it's worth of taking all the doing all that amount of hard work, because honestly it should be easier than this. It shouldn't be this hard,
Okay.
because like the people over here already, like people who are Americans and doing PhD, it's not so like as hard as it's for us. So it's easier for them. So like yeah, but like this is what it is. So if you are really interested in research, you should give that a shot and like work hard for 1 year and make a profile and do the applications and try and see what here is like if it suits you.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Yeah.
so those are the things that we wanted to cover. Um, yeah, thank you, Ishika. Thank you so much for joining in. And we'll discuss more. And if someone approaches me, I can contact you for helping them, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ishika. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.